U 11. izdanju emisije Diplomata, koju Euronews Srbija realizuje u saradnji sa magazinom Diplomata and Commerce, govori Sufijan Ađali, predstavnik Visokog komesara UN za izbeglice u Srbiji. Nakon toga videćemo kako je bilo na prijemu povodom 249. dana nezavisnosti SAD u rezidenciji američkog ambasadora u Beogradu, na obeležavanju Nacionalnog dana Kanade, na proslavi Nacionalnog dana suverenog malteškog reda, na izložbi ekskluzivnog italijanskog nakita diva u organizaciji italijanske ambasade, kao i na koncertu korejski muzički kaleidoskop koji je u Madlenijanumu organizovala ambasada Republike Koreje. A sada prelazimo na diplomatske vesti. Ministar spoljnih poslova Srbije Marko Đurić izjavio je na završetku 55. zasedanja Generalne skupštine Organizacije američkih država održanog u Antigvi i Barbudi da je rezultat učešća srpske delegacije na tom samitu to što je Srbija cementirala svoju poziciju kao jedan od ključnih evropskih partnera zemalja zapadne hemisfere. Srbija je, kako je istakao, dobra vest ovogodišnjeg samita Organizacije američkih država zbog toga što smo među onima koji pokazuju da im je stalo do ravnopravnog položaja i malih ostrvskih zemalja na Karibima i zemalja Centralne i Južne Amerike. Prezentovali smo jednu pozitivnu sliku o našem ekonomskom napretku i mogućnostima koje postoje, a nemojmo zaboraviti da to nije samo teorijska stvar. Srbija danas, kada je reč o IT-u i softverskoj industriji, koja je ključna industrija u našoj zemlji, duplo veća od poljoprivrede, najveće partnere ima upravo u ovom delu sveta. Dakle, upravo u zapadnoj hemisferi, objasnio je Đurić. Jedna od ključnih tema razgovora delegacije Srbije bila je, kako je naglasio, i specijalizovana izložba Expo 2027, čiji će domaćin biti Beograd. Sigurno ima još niz novih potvrda za učešće. Kao što smo nakon poseta Pacifiku osigurali da sve pacifičke zemlje potvrde svoje prisustvo na Expu, tako sada mogu da kažem da je sigurno da će ceo karipski pojas biti prisutan na Expo izložbi, kazao je Đurić. Šef srpske diplomatije Marko Đurić sastao se prošle nedelje u Segedinu sa ministrom spoljnih poslova i spoljne trgovine Mađarske, Petrom Sijartom, a nakon sastanka je poručeno da su dve države na pravoj strani istorije i na strani zaštite prave demokratije, te da neće uspeti režirani pokušaj rušenja naših država. Đurić je na konferenciji za novinare nakon sastanka izjavio da sa mađarskim ministrom stoji rame uz rame u suprotstavljanju nastojanjima da se legitimno izabrana rukovodstva Srbije i Mađarske podriju spoljnim delovanjem, koje je organizovano sa ciljem da se demokratski izražena volja naroda podrije i usmeri u pravcu koji odgovara centrima moći daleko izvan Beograda i izvan Budimpešte. Kako je konstatovano, postoje značajne paralele između onoga što vidimo poslednjih dana na ulicama naših glavnih gradova, ali postoji jednako velika paralela u rešenosti i čvrstini naših naroda i rukovodstava da zaštitimo istinski demokratsku volju građana. Zato mogu da kažem ovde otvoreno da se nasuprot onome što se tvrdi i pritiscima koji se vrše, upravo mi nalazimo i na pravoj strani istorije i na strani zaštite prave demokratije, ne ona koja je nametnuta preko plaćenih medija, preko pojedinih društvenih organizacija koje su finansirane iz inostranstva i preko režije koja ima za cilj da nelegalnim metodama i uz strano mešanje promeni vlast izabranu demokratskom voljom građana u obe zemlje, rekao je Đurić. Znamo da i u Mađarskoj i u Srbiji imamo na vlasti vlade koje rade u interesu suvereniteta i interesa sopstvenih zemalja. Jasno je da se protiv tih vlada organizuju akcije sa namerom njihovog svrgavanja, a finansiraju se iz inostranstva i podržavaju se iz inostranstva, upozorio je Sijarto. U takvoj situaciji, prema njegovim rečima, saradnja Mađarske i Srbije još više dobija na značaju, posebno u sferi energetike, budući da dve države ne žele da se odreknu jeftinog ruskog gasa i nafte. Brisel želi da pruži podršku Ukrajini na taj način da dovodi u opasnost snabdevanje energentima našeg područja i jednostavno je nemoguće i ne možemo da prihvatimo 4-5 puta povećane cene energenata, objasnio je Sijarto.
Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Diplomat. My name is Mijat Kontić and our today's guest is Sufijan Ađali, the representative of the UNHCR in Serbia. Mr. Ađali, thank you for coming with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to have you with us. The first thing that I would like this conversation to start with is your career here in Serbia. You've started your work here in February 2023. What have been your key priorities ever since taking office?
So I arrived in a country where UNHCR has been present since 1976. So one of the objectives is probably to look at windows of opportunities available to protect, to enhance the protection of people that are in need of safety and dignity. So it entails that they have legal rights, that they are included in the society, and that they contribute to the society by working and not being a burden. So we worked also on another subject, which is statelessness, and to make sure that all the people that are born in Serbia of Serbian origin are documented and not at risk of being without nationality and not existing at all. So the priorities are important for me. And basically next year we will be celebrating half a century in Serbia. So
congratulations. Now, you worked in America, you worked in the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. How have all of these regions varied in the challenges that the refugees are faced with?
I have to say, the 1951 convention, we will be celebrating next year the 75th year, has something similar, which means life-saving in all parts of the world. It has contributed to give safety to millions of people. We tend to forget it very much, that people that are under our mandate are not people that are just fleeing for economic reasons, but they are seeking security, safety, and possibly the right to return home one day in safety and in dignity.
Now, for some of our viewers that are not introduced with the work of the UNHCR, could you explain how does the UNHCR help refugees in Serbia integrate into the society, including access to employment and education?
So I would like to thank first the people of Serbia for hosting for many, many years people that are in need of protection, that are escaping persecution, that are escaping wars, and we see more and more wars, unfortunately. We are here to help the government and the people to understand that the people that are crossing, the persons, the human beings that comes with families, so at times, or young men also escaping because they have to feed in terms of protection their relatives that are refugees elsewhere also. Often you should not see them only as individuals on the move. They have families that are in refugee camps, and because of lack of attention, lack of assistance, lack of perspectives, lack of hope, and because of the fatigue to assist them for many years, and the conflicts are not lasting for 1 year, they are lasting for many years, and the options there are very limited, of course. So the people that are on the move are very rich. They come with an educational background, they come with a career plan behind. So the contribution to the society is certainly not to rely on economic assistance, social assistance, but instead to contribute, and even we can say that by working in the private sector, they will be selected because of their qualification. Thanks to the Ministry of Education and the Qualification Agency in Serbia, they do process their experience and do grant them an equivalent in terms of degree so that they can access the labor market. Thanks also to the Commissioner for Refugees and Migration of Serbia that gives them the opportunity to learn the Serbian language so that they can effectively also work in the society. So we are really helping people with the government, with the people of Serbia. It's never individual initiatives. We are guests in your country, and we are trying to make sure that these people also generates a revenue to the state, income, taxes, are important. We don't want them to work in the dark labor or black labor, but we want them to effectively work with proper contracts. And thanks again to the members of parliament that have adopted the law that allows foreigners to have access after 6 months of presence in Serbia and seeking asylum and protection to have access to the labor market, so that they are not just assisted, but effectively contributing.
Now, for many refugees, Serbia is a transit country through which they go to the EU as their final destination. What challenges does this pose for humanitarian efforts?
You have to understand, in the movement, there are mixed movements. You have people that can return home. Here, as UNHCR, I'm talking about people that could not return home. So often when they are in the hands of criminals, in the hands of people that tell them that they will have a better safety, even through artificial intelligence. If you go to ChatGPT, ChatGPT or else will indicate where is the safest country to seek security and protection. People are just misled. They do not know Serbia. And also, they have also family networks elsewhere, national networks. So people then foresee Serbia as just a crossing point, and they want to join their family net, social net, friendships, relationships in some countries where they feel that they will be better off. The issue is Serbia needs manpower also, and if you seek security and protection, you should not be engaging in any dangerous journey, because I call this transit a dangerous journey. This may end up by death, and often there are some tragic events, including babies dying in the rivers around Serbia, and I have to say families also disappearing or separated. I feel that we should look at what are the options available for the people. And as I said, the people that are of our responsibility, international responsibility, but also Serbian government responsibility, are people that can live for a certain time and hoping that one day they can voluntarily return to their country of origin. I think that should be the vision. People that are on the move, often we are describing them as migrants, they are dangerous criminals, etc. But the penal code, the detention centers, the jails were not created in our countries for foreigners. They were established first to have a social rule that everybody has to respect the law, and refugees are bound to respect the laws of all the countries.
Now, in the latest UNHCR analysis of global trends, it is said that there are over 122.1 million forcibly displaced people worldwide, and this is a number that has actually doubled in the last decade. What are the main drivers behind this increase?
I have to say, in that number, we can speak about 123 million forcibly displaced persons. Among them, you have 9 million people that returned home. 8 million are internally displaced persons that managed to return to their houses, and 1 million refugees have returned home in safety and dignity. We keep them in our statistics because we do monitor their return, and we make sure that they are really integrated and are part of the society. The triggers is that multilateralism, the Security Council, is a tool to make peace, generate peace when there are conflicts. And we count on that institution that is really very important and in the 80th anniversary of the UN, we count on this institution to make countries more peaceful, so that people are not leaving their houses, crossing the international border of their country, seeking refuge somewhere. You know, UNHCR caseload, 77% of all these people are leaving the southern hemisphere, really very far away from the northern hemisphere. And they get protection and security. Fortunately, wars have a reason, and I let you guess what are the reasons.
Of course. Now, while the number has doubled, the funding for UNHCR has remained the same on the level that it was in 2015. How does this affect refugee assistance programs?
You know, it does affect the assistance, the outreach. We are asked to do more with less. It's a human organization. We need human beings to work with other human beings, and we don't produce anything. We don't want people to be scared. We want to have people to live comfortably, including our refugees to live comfortably at high standards. Why not? Unfortunately, we've seen more and more conflicts, but we see more and more the need for the international community, the multilateralism, to function further, to create peace and to make peace and to keep peace. So it's a lot of 3 points there that I mentioned. Keeping, making is also a critical point for our word, and we should aim at having a stable word. We still live in one big ball, and we have nowhere to go yet. We cannot migrate from the planet Earth when we understand that we are one human family and that we have to have safeguards, rule of law. Democracy is also something that is important. I will not define it because it can have different definition. However, the key point is the people that are the decision making. They are making the laws and they are making the policies, and hopefully they are keeping the peace.
Now, in the same report, it is said that 60% of forcibly displaced people are internally displaced, so they never even leave their own home country. What are the obstacles in finding solutions for internally displaced persons?
For internally displaced persons, what is important to look at is, first of all, they haven't crossed the international border of their country. The internally displaced persons UNHCR is talking about is not only those that have been moving because of natural disaster. It is due to instability and political discomfort in the country. So basically, when the people move within the borders of their own country, they move to areas where they feel safe. I think when you create stability in the country, when you have functioning institutions, then the people, if they feel safe and they feel that the rule of law will be respected, their human rights will be respected, then people will go and return. Unfortunately, many of these conflicts around the world, and the people you are mentioning are in great majority around in the Southern Hemisphere, are not crossing the international borders, but are remaining in their own countries, waiting for the moment to return home.
Now, an important aspect of this issue is media coverage as well. UNHCR has organized a workshop with the Journalistic Association of Serbia around this topic and around the responsible coverage of topics surrounding refugees. To what degree does this affect the perception of integration of refugees in society?
I think journalism is a key function. Journalists have to be respected and protected. I always am sad when I hear that journalists are dying in the front lines everywhere just to report for us information, to give us and to feed us with information. I think it's important to sit with the journalists because the journalist is the one that opens the minds and gives the picture, factual picture to the population, in order for the population to make its own opinion. Journalist function is all about freedom of expression. So if a journalist is doing his job, then he will know what is the definition of a migrant, what is the definition of a refugee, what is the definition of an asylum seeker, and will not speculate. All the three categories that I mentioned have human rights and they should be respected. Some have options to return home, the migrants. when they can, but also they should return in dignity. However, the persons that we cover as refugee agency are people that, if they had the option to return home, if they could return home, they will. And that's the biggest difference. We've seen this, and we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of UNHCR this year, the 1951 Convention, the Geneva Convention on the Refugee Status next year as the 75th anniversary. It has saved, as I started today, so many lives, millions and millions of lives. And in the region also, it has saved lives. And families have been protected because of this convention and because the state that granted protection have respected their international obligation. So basically, there is and there should be hope when we train the journalists to make sure that dictionaries are relevant, and to understand that, you know, a foreigner, everybody is scared of unknown people. Yeah. And everybody is so scared of the unknown, then it can generate a lot of wrong ideas. There are criminals in all the societies. There are often a description that foreigner will bring instability and insecurity.
There's a stereotype, yeah.
And for me, personally, I believe that if we have strong state institutions, strong judiciary, strong police, then you have security. If we are doing our job, it's a responsibility of all. If we criticize, that means we failed. So everybody is responsible to make sure that there is safety and security for the nationals, for the host community, because if the host community is not safe, then how they would welcome others? So I think it's a responsibility for all, and these trainings helps, do not dictate, but helps to give a picture, a vision. I will never be able to change a set of mind, otherwise it's not my role to change the set of mind of the journalist. Absolutely. You have your freedom and we respect it.
Now, we've also mentioned the importance of employment for refugees in order for them to integrate into societies. And in this regard, UNHCR has actually launched a career guidance manual. Yeah. Could you tell us something about it, and what impact does this have in navigating refugees to employment opportunities?
Prior to launching the guide, we created a network for refugees with the private sector. Mm-hmm. We worked with the foundation of IKEA, but we worked with others without making publicities and quoting them, but with the chambers of commerce of the European Union and Serbia, and principally the Chamber of Commerce of Serbia with the UN. We have established a network that could help people that are seeking asylum, electing to stay in Serbia, to integrate the labor market. This does not happen in one day. We had to work with the National Employment Service. We had to work with, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
We had to work with the Commissioner for Refugees, with the Ministry of Interior, so that people can integrate the labor market. We are now working into making the documentation of the asylum seekers and the refugees more up to standards, allowing them to open bank accounts so that they can get paid normally and work normally. Some of them have also established their private businesses, and it may flourish, it may be successful. We have some that are self-entrepreneurs. So, voilà, there are the different tools that we are trying to put in place. But, you know, it will not happen if the government do not support and the people of Serbia.
So you need this collaboration in order for it to happen.
You know, I'm not in my country. It's the decision of the host country. And often in Serbia, we get positive feedback.
That's great to hear, at least. Now, you mentioned the collaboration with the private sector as well, which has been actually a very fruitful partnership with the UNHCR. Could you elaborate how in practice this collaboration looks like?
Well, you know, there is all the GEM vacancies that are shared with us. We have partners that help the people seeking employment to develop their CVs. Language classes are given. The commissioners for refugee and migration is very helpful with her team. We are going outreaching the people that may have an interest to work and contribute to the society in Serbia. So it's a synergy. There are needs, demands, but of course, UNHCR, we're not talking about huge numbers. We're talking about 259 refugees in Serbia, approximately 1,000 refugees under temporary protection. So it's not a huge caseload, or I don't like to use the word caseload, but it's not really a large community of refugees. It's a small community.
But it's still impressive nonetheless as well.
Yes.
We've also mentioned the issue of statelessness. In this regard, what has UNHCR been able to achieve, especially in Serbia? And would you say that this is decreasing or managing to be eliminated completely?
Listen, Serbia has been doing very good. They have been very cooperative, documenting the people. It's an everyday work. It's a never-ending work because you have to outreach to the most vulnerable if you don't get documented. There is a cooperation from the Ministry of Local Administration on it. The local administrations, the civil registers are working to make sure that things are happening so that the people have an ID card and they exist. I insist on the word existing because without a nationality, you are nothing. And Serbia is on the right path, I think doing even better in the region than other countries. So we will continue. We will want to see the free legal aid service more accessible to these people that are at risk so that the system functions and help those that are at risk to not exist and disappear in our statistics.
Very important. You've also had the opportunity to work with the local youth. Could you maybe share with us what are your impressions and are you successful in maybe at least helping them navigate these narratives surrounding refugees and issues as such?
We have been working and we continue to work with the youth. I think the youth is the future. I hope we are building a world of peace for them, of hope, of perspectives. I think I just hope that they take more books and read. But maybe I am too old for that, and they should take a Kindle or an iPad and read good books that were written in the past, in the future. But I have to say, instruction is very important, whether technical or generalist. And the youth, you know, when you grow up, you can learn many languages and you don't distinguish between others. It's what we put in their brain that makes them and format them. And I think the fact that they are genuine, innocent, doesn't make them less clever than others. They can absorb quite a bit. We say often this about babies, they can absorb a lot. But speaking about the youth, they are the power of the future. They are the ones that will lead us. When we will get old, they are the ones that will manage us. And we want them to manage us well. So we need to prepare them well for the future.
Now, you said the future. Could you tell us maybe what are your hopes for the future in regard to all of these issues and global issues regarding refugees?
The good thing is we want peace. My hope is for peace.
And this is the basis.
The basis of everything. I think we can talk about everything, but without peace, there is no hope. And I think that's the priority number one. We should make the international mechanisms that were established after the Second World War, so after a war, function more and more. We often foresee a bleak future. I think we have to be optimistic. There is sun. Every day we see suns, clouds, suns. The climate is changing also. That's unfortunately part of our future. We need to look at that we all live on the same planet, and everyone should be responsible for the other. I think that's my key message. I don't say peace and love, but why not?
That's great. For your last question, on a personal level, could you tell us what has been the most rewarding aspect of your work in UNHCR in Serbia so far?
I think in Serbia and everywhere where I worked, I see that the Convention of 1951 has not been created just out of nothing. The definition, if you read it carefully, is still very valid. I see that Serbia wants to go up to standards and show the example. It has shown the example. It's one of the founding members of the United Nations. So for me, it has been always a pleasure to work in Serbia because I have the people of Serbia that are welcoming, and that's for me very rewarding. People meaning the territory, the population, the institutions, but the key word is the families of Serbia are very open and very dear.
Mr. Ađali, thank you once again for talking to us for our show. As for our dear viewers, thank you for watching. My name is Mijat Kontić. Our today's guest was Sufijan Ađali, the UNHCR representative in Serbia, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Diplomat.
Tradicionalnim prijemom u Ambasadi Sjedinjenih Američkih Država obeležen je Dan nezavisnosti, uspostavljen usvajanjem Deklaracije o nezavisnosti u julu 1776. godine u Filadelfiji. Događaju su prisustvovali gosti iz javnog, poslovnog, diplomatskog i političkog sveta, među kojima su bili i predsjednica Narodne skupštine Srbije Ana Brnabić, ministri u vladi Srbije i patrijarh srpski Porfirije. Dobrodošlicu na proslavu poželeo je otpravnik poslova američke ambasade Aleksandar Titolo, dok novi ambasador Mark Brnović u Beograd stiže u septembru.
Predsednik Trump je definisao novu viziju američkih odnosa sa drugim narodima na principu praktičnog realizma. Ta vizija gleda dalje od sukoba iz prošlosti i poziva nas da kroz nova partnerstva stvarimo bolji, bezbedniji, bogatiji i stabilniji svet. To je izvanredna prilika, pogotovo za Srbiju. Verovatno ne postoji ni jedno mesto u Srbiji koje nije na neki način dotakla nesebična pomoć američkog naroda i partnerstvo sa američkim institucijama. U poslednjih 25 godina pomogli smo u modernizaciji administracije, od sudova, preko policije, poreskog sistema, do postupka javnih nabavki, izdavanje dozvola i drugog.
Prema rečima otpravnika ambasade, pomoć sa američke strane bila je usmerena i u oblasti nevladinog sektora, obrazovanja i privrede, sa ciljem edukacije kadrova koji će biti konkurentni u kompanijama svetskog renomea. Među gostima na proslavi Dana nezavisnosti bili su i predstavnici kompanija koje godinama uspešno posluju u Srbiji.
Coca-Cola HBC posluje i ekskluzivno proizvodi, puni i prodaje proizvode Coca-Cole, ali i drugih renomiranih brendova na 29 tržišta. Mi smo deo jednog velikog globalnog sistema, ali u isto vreme smo izuzetno lokalno orijentisana kompanija. Skoro smo objavili nove rezultate našeg istraživanja o socioekonomskom uticaju i pokazali da smo doprineli ekonomiji Srbije sa 633 miliona evra ili 0,9% procenata BDP-a. Izuzetno smo ponosni na činjenicu da već godinama smo proglašeni za najboljeg poslodavca u Srbiji i to je odraz naših investicija u razvoj i rast zaposlenih u našem sistemu, što između ostalog doprinosi i poboljšanju ekonomije u Srbiji. Na kraju, sa ponosom čekamo i na novi izveštaj o društveno-ekonomskom uticaju, pošto izlazi na svaki 2 godine ovaj novi ciklus i nova godina u kojoj ćemo imati prilike da vidimo šta je to što ova kompanija doprinosi tržištu Srbije.
Što se Srbije konkretno tiče, mi smo članovi Privredne komore, ja mislim, već 12 godina i u bezbroj iteracija smo sa kolegama iz drugih kompanija, iz izvršne kancelarije MČM-a radili na onome što je zapravo i misija MČM-a, to je da poboljšamo ekonomske uslove u Srbiji. Moram da kažem da smo ponosni član te organizacije i da koristimo svaku priliku da sa njima, ostvarajući kontakte, razgovarajući, diskutujući o bitnim temama koje se tiču ekonomije u Srbiji, podelimo iskustva i da budemo što je aktivniji mogući član.
Na događaju u ambasadi najavljeno je otvaranje američkog centra u ložionici, brojni događaji sa oznakom Amerika 250, kao i učešće Sjedinjenih Američkih Država na izložbi Expo 2027. Svakog 1. jula Kanađani širom sveta uz vatromete, parade, piknike i snažan patriotski osjećaj proslavljaju rođendan Kanade. Svečano u prisustvu visokih zvanica u hotelu Metropol obeleženo je 158 godina od formiranja Kanadske konfederacije. Diplomatski odnosi između naše zemlje i Kanade datiraju još iz vremena Kraljevine Jugoslavije, rekla je ambasadorka Kanade u Srbiji Michelle Cameron.
Od tada naši odnosi su prolazili kroz uspone i padove, ali mogu da kažem da danas imamo stabilno partnerstvo i čvrste odnose. Kanada podržava ovaj region u njegovom napredovanju ka evropskim integracijama. Pružamo podršku i gradimo mostove kroz međunarodnu saradnju, obrazovanje, kulturu, IT sektor, akademska i institucionalna partnerstva. Naša partnerstva dobijaju na zamahu, kanadske kompanije ulažu u ovaj region i u budućnost Srbije.
Iako je Kanada geografski udaljena od Srbije, Severne Makedonije i Crne Gore, delimo iste težnje. Svi mi želimo mir, očuvanje dostojanstva, prosperitet i prilike. Partnerstva omogućavaju svakome od nas opstanak, posebno kada se globalna pitanja približe našim domovima, dodala je ambasadorka Cameron. U čast Nacionalnog dana najstarijeg aktivnog reda viteštva, odnosno suverenog vojnog malteškog reda, koji i danas aktivno deluje u humanitarnim projektima u više od 120 zemalja sveta, organizovana je svečanost u ambasadi Malte u Beogradu.
Naš nacionalni dan je istinska potvrda naše misije koja se nastavlja uprkos globalnim izazovima. Naša diplomatija nije usmerena na promociju interesa reda, već je stavljena u službu bolesnih i siromašnih, na pružanje humanitarne pomoći i nege izbeglicama širom sveta. Malteški red održava diplomatske odnose sa 114 zemalja kao i sa Evropskom unijom i najvažnijim međunarodnim organizacijama. Srbija sa malteškim redom neguje odlične odnose, a naša prva godina ovde bila je topla i puna izraza dobrodošlice. Imao sam privilegiju da upoznam istoriju, kulturu i ljudske vrednosti Srbije, u kojoj tradicija ide rame uz rame sa snažnom željom za napretkom.
Nastanak malteškog reda vezuje se za osnivanje prve bolnice u Jerusalimu u 11. veku, a misija nadahnuta čistom potrebom pomaganja drugima poznata i kao humanitarna diplomatija. Njegova neutralnost, nezavisnost i apolitična priroda omogućavaju široku mrežu podrške radu za mir i pravdu u svetu, dodao je ambasador. Putujuća izložba diva na kojoj je predstavljeno 200 komada italijanskog modnog nakita kreiranog od 50. godina prošlog veka do danas, svečano je otvorena u Palati umetnosti Madlena. Postavka koja će biti dostupna do 1. avgusta predstavlja primere italijanske lepote, zanatstva, kreativnosti i inovacija, sa ciljem promovisanja vrhunskih dizajnera i kulture te zemlje kroz modu.
Ova izložba je jedan od najsvetlijih momenata inicijative IFIP, italijanska moda u Beogradu, koju naša ambasada promoviše već duži niz godina. Moda je deo kulture i načina života u Italiji, u kojoj je prošle godine samo izvoz modne industrije iznosio 18 milijardi evra.
Izložba je podeljena u 3 celine. Prva obuhvata Dolce Vita period 50. i 60. godina 20. veka i početke ozbiljnijeg razvoja modne industrije. Drugu etapu čini takozvana pret-a-porter era i 80. godine tokom kojih su dominirali Armani, Krizija, Valentino, Versace, Gucci, Fendi, Prada i Dolce Gabbana. Treća celina pripada stvaralaštvu novog milenijuma sa vidljivim uplivom digitalnih tehnologija u razvoju, promociji i estetici nakita.
Diva uvodi u svet italijanskog modnog nakita, kao estetskog ogledala društva koje evoluira. ilustrujući promene stila i ženska postignuća. Zato italijanski modni nakit možemo posmatrati kao kulturni predmet, a ne samo kao estetski ukras, nešto što predstavlja spoj i sintezu korena i vrednosti italijanske kulture. Izložba otkriva remek dela najvećih italijanskih draguljara, koji najbolje izražavaju italijansko zanatsko umeće modnih brendova, koji simbolizuju svuda u svetu jedinstvenu italijansku kreativnost i nezavisnih dizajnera sa evolucijom oblika, inovacijom materijala i korišćenjem novih tehnologija. Međunarodni majstori i mladi talenti se udružuju sa talentovanim modnim draguljarima, dizajnerima sa vizijom i čuvenim modnim kreatorima, na kojima nam ceo svet zavidi, što sve čini italijanski modni nakit vrhunskim.
Glorifikacija ženstvenosti predstavlja zapravo neprestanu igru pokreta. Nakit se vrti, treperi, uvija, noseći nešto od šarma večite igre, lascivne ili skrivene, već prema potrebi i želji. Privesci koji klize po lancu prateći pokret ruke, suze koje se nišu na lančiću, biseri čuvane u prstenu kao u zlatnom kavojzu, korali okačeni za alku, njih ne drži mesto, već stalno svetlosnim i zvučnim treperanjem traže pažnju vlasnika ili posmatrača.
Otvaranju izložbe prethodio je masterklas o italijanskom modnom nakitu, a nakon otvaranja posetioci su na poklon dobili knjigu Diva, autorsko delo profesorke Capellieri, u kojoj su izloženi eksponati objašnjeni kroz italijansko kulturno nasleđe i likovnu umetnost. Događaj je podržala Palata umetnosti Madlena na čelu sa Madlenom Cepter, Ambasada Italije, Italijanski institut za kulturu i Ministarstvo spoljnih poslova Italije. Koncert tradicionalne muzike Korejski muzički kaleidoskop koji je organizovala Ambasada Republike Koreje održan je u Madlenijanumu. Tom prilikom nastupili su korejski umetnici iz Društva za muziku istoka i zapada, predstavljajući originalnost korejske muzike. Na koncertu su osim korejskih vokalno i instrumentalno nastupili srpski umetnici sa festivala Artlink.
Veoma smo počastvovani što je ovaj događaj organizovan u Srbiji, zemlji sa kojom Koreja neguje toplo i rastuće prijateljstvo. Tokom godina naše dve nacije su izgradile blisko i dinamično partnerstvo zasnovano na međusobnom poštovanju, zajedničkim vrednostima i sve dubljim kulturnim vezama. Kada gledamo u budućnost, verujemo da će kulturne razmene poput ove i dalje igrati ključnu ulogu u jačanju mostova između naših naroda.
Udruženje za istočno-zapadnu muziku je dinamičan ansambl koji kombinuje tradicionalnu korejsku muziku sa savremenim kompozicijama. Postalo je prepoznatljivo po kreativnom reinterpretiranju korejskog muzičkog i plesnog nasleđa i hrabrom eksperimentisanju kroz žanrove, a neke od kompozicija su po prvi put izvedene u Srbiji.